Prescription drug overdoses are responsible for more deaths than both heroin and cocaine combined. That's a statistic that hits close to home for Highland Park residents David and Gail Katz. Take a look.
Daniel was the easiest child. He enjoyed everything he did and always smiling, always happy, just seemed to love life.
He loved playing hockey. He lived for hockey, and unfortunately, as he got older, he lived for the drugs.
The first red flag for me was someone had told us that they saw him smoking on the front lawn of our house, and I just assumed that it was cigarettes. He was experimenting with cigarettes, and I believe that was maybe in 6th or 7th grade. He did start, he maybe smoked pot for the first time when he was in 8th grade. By the time he was a junior in high school, I believe, we had him in an intensive outpatient program at the local hospital, and he completed those programs, and from then on, it didn't get better.
He was getting OxyContin from a lot of different sources, including supposedly one of his closest friends who he played hockey with for years and whose house he ultimately passed away in. And the source of that drug, those drugs, OxyContin, came from a doctor in Highland Park. This doctor prescribed OxyContin and other drugs to 7 people, including our son, who all passed away. At one point, we had a professional intervention with 17 of his friends and some family members. Everybody had to write a letter saying what and how did the drugs that Daniel was using affect our relationship with Daniel. And part of my letter said very specifically that one of my concerns was that this drug use was going to cause me to have to plan my son's funeral. I mean, the last 2 weeks of his life, he was out of control. I had the police looking for him, the state police looking for him. It was June 15, 2007, about 6 o'clock in the morning. And 2 of our close friends were standing at the doorway with a police officer. As soon as I saw the police officer, I knew he was gone. And that's how we found out that he had passed away a couple hours earlier.
Every holiday, there's someone missing at the table. Every event, every birthday, there's a missing part. I know we both feel like a claw has just ripped out a part of our hearts, and it doesn't heal.
It's affected me that if I didn't have my daughter Melissa and her 2 beautiful daughters, our granddaughters, I wouldn't be sitting here. There'd be no reason to live any further. It's something that you think about all the time.
You know, I have to separate the drug addict from Daniel, the son, and the brother, and because the drug addict is not the person, it's the disease.
David and Gail Katz are with us now, and what an emotional piece that we just saw. There's so much that we learned about Daniel in that piece. He's been gone now since 2007. It has not gotten any easier, has it?
No, when your heart is ripped out, it can never get easier. It's just something you have to try to learn to understand and live with, but it does not get easier.
Yeah, you have a new normal life. It's a different normal than what you ever had before, and there's a lot of times that I've tried to make lemonade out of lemons that I have, and it's taken a long time, but now I really think about all the things that he was so funny and just happy, and I think of all the good things,
Right.
and I actually can start to laugh at some of them, you know, when we talk about them.
When you look back on his life and you think about, you talked about in the piece, 6th, 7th grade is when you got a call that he was smoking. Did you, at that point, even in hindsight now, did you sit down, did you talk with him, do you question, like, what could I have done differently as parents?
Well, you know, we assumed it was cigarettes. We don't really know exactly what it was, or I don't remember, but we talked about how bad cigarettes were. I had quit smoking in 1982. It's addicting. You're an addict if you smoke.
Yes.
And so we talked to him about all that. I did, you know, I said, if you're ever at a party, call me. I'll pick you up any time of night. No questions asked. And we had lots of talks about things like that. And
well,
the kids are one step ahead, and one of the kids out of a group is going to be an addict. I mean, that's statistics. And kids that, you know, experiment.
Right. You've turned his tragedy, though, into something positive, though, for other families. Tell us about the organization.
Shortly after we lost our son, we started a foundation called Save Our Star Drug Awareness Foundation. We have two main focuses. We have Save Our Star drug disposal boxes in 26 different police stations around, a few out of state, but mostly around Cook County and Lake County. Last year, in just 13 of our drug disposal boxes in police stations in Lake County, we collected 25,000 pounds of pills. Whereas the DEA, which we have our disposal days twice a year. We just had one Saturday, like Jack said. We've collected 3.4 million pounds of pills in 8 different collection weekends in a 4-hour period on a Saturday. That's 1.7 tons of pills. Just shows you how much is being overprescribed today by doctors.
Exactly. And you want to hope to start a mobile unit, a mobile educational unit. So.
Yes. Our foundation works hand in hand with the DEA, and I'm on the board of directors of the DEA Foundation. We're trying to build that traveling exhibit, which is all about the cost and consequences of drug abuse and prescription pills, which is what took our son's life. And of course, prescription pills, as we know, leads to the use of heroin because of the cost of the prescription pills versus a cheap $6 bag of heroin. And the traveling exhibit, unfortunately, we thought we had the money raised, but in this tight economic times, it's approximately $2.5 million, and we're looking for somebody to step forward to help us get this message out, because this is all about education now.
It is.
We're facing a tough battle. Our country's addicted. We have a president who just said...
this has had an impact on your family, too.
Oh, my gosh. It has had a major impact on our family. And it extended everyone. Well, addiction is a family disease. And it's not just the addict, but
it takes
families. It takes its toll on families, and families need to be in. I believe, you know, they have to recover just like an addict does.
Yes,
learn
thank you.
And read, and you know.
It's so hard. It's so hard, and I know it was hard for you to come here and tell your story, but hopefully it will help others. Thank you so much for being here. For more,
today is his birthday, and he's not here. So, yeah.
Well, happy birthday. For more on their foundation, go to saveastar.org. Coming up next, a young man coping with recovery just months after hopefully breaking free of his addiction once and for all. So we'll hear that story as well. We'll be right back.